Shalom, saints. I want to welcome you to another Shabbat of the Most High study session here with the Highest Way Ministry. My name is Raah. This is my reader, brother MaKaal. We greet you in the name of the Heavenly Father, Elyon. He's our Raah. He's our Yasha. He's the Shaddai. He is our Shalom. Khan. And sisters and brothers, we are going into part 2, the Melanated Rulers, Black on Black Crime. Part 2. We're going to go through a lot of information. So I pray that you're ready. Get your note-taking tools down. If anything, just write down and highlight the areas that I mentioned. Go back to the video and just get caught back up if we move a little fast. Khan. Today we're going to have our opening scripture and we're going to get right to our Shabbat study. So without further ado, let's stand, face towards Jerusalem for our opening scripture, and we'll get right to today's Shabbat study. Whenever you're ready, all right.
And El appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer, and have chosen this place to myself for an house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command thee locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Now mine eyes shall be open, and mine ears attent unto their prayer that is made in this place.
Hallel.
Hallel.
We thank you for that scripture reading. I think that's 2 Chronicles chapter 7. Was that 12 to 15?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sisters and brothers, go ahead and have a seat. Let's get right to it. A lot of information to cover. And I know many of you are saying, but we didn't talk about no black on black crime last week. What's the title of the lesson? You got to listen and watch the entire lesson.
Yes, sir.
All right. Because I could give you an examples of crime that you may see online, but we're trying to go back into the old times and see where we got it from, right?
That's right.
To see if this was ever done at a higher level than what we see it on our streets today. But let me start you off with a few opening passages because we're going somewhere, right? If you don't get nothing, you'll get this introduction, right? Let's start in the beginning. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Like Raah always going a long way to get to a short answer.
That's right. That's all right.
Trying to put it deep root in you. Some part of the story you'll remember and it'll recall what you need to know, Khan. All right, so let's start at Genesis chapter 10. Read me verse 1 and then drop down to verse 4.
Yes, sir. Now these are the generations of the son of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Drop down to verse 4.
And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and to Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodim.
All right. The name we're going to pull out of there is Kittim. Highlight and write in your notes, Kittim, Chittim. We're going somewhere. Put it in your notes. Now let's go to an apocrypha, 2nd Esdras. We already know who the authors are in it, so you got to know there's going to be a little truth with a whole bunch of lying, right?
That's right.
So 2nd Esdras chapter 6, we're going to read one verse, right? So we found Chittim, right?
Yes,
now
sir.
read verse 9 for me. 2nd Esdras chapter 9.
Chapter 6 or chapter 9?
Chapter 6, verse 9.
Okay.
It's like,
all right. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So there's going to be a world where Esau is ruling in this world, and you're like, where is Esau? Where is Waldo? Can't find him, right? But Esau is supposed to be ruling a world that is going to end, and when it ends, then Jacob is going to take over. All right, so we got Chittim, and we got Esau. Now let's get the book of Jasher, chapter 90. The book of Jasher, chapter 90, verse 1 through 11. Now, you may not have a book of Jasher, but you can probably look up a PDF online, or you can just read along and then go back, find the PDF to get the chapter and verse. But we're going to read chapter 90, starting at verse 1. Now, we found Kittim in Genesis. We found Esau, the beginning of a world, and that world is supposedly ending. All right? Okay, hold that thought. So before, let me show you the beginning. Let's go to First Maccabees. Hold that spot. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. Let's find the beginning of Chittim's world. So we'll get a time and we'll get a date, right? So this ain't in the beginning was the Word and the Word was with God. This wasn't in the beginning God created heaven and the earth. But this was the beginning of a world that Edom would rule. Does that make sense? So let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1, and let's start at verse 1. Watch this.
And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian.
Now listen, put next to Chittim, Macedonia, right? Go ahead.
Who came out of the land of Chittim.
He came from where?
The land of Chittim.
So King Philip, or Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, came out of the land of
Chittim.
Chittim was one of the sons, right? That was listed in Genesis chapter 10. So the land of Chittim, all right, go ahead.
Had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
So when you go read the prophecy of Daniel, you'll see that in the beginning, Babylon had took over. Babylon was first mentioned, right? It had took the Judeans, right, into Babylon. Then after Babylon was Medo-Persia.
That's right.
Right? What most don't know is after Medo-Persia, it was the Greeks. Right? And after the Greeks came the Romans. But in our Vacation Bible School and in our Baptist churches and our AME churches and Kojic churches, we don't know nothing about Rome, and we barely know about Rome.
That's right. So
in the beginning of the world of Chittim started right here. So Alexander was Alexander, son of Philip. Y'all know who that Alexander is? Alexander the Great. Alexander the Greek. So now you got Chittim, you got Macedonia, you got Alexander the Greek, right? It says it clearly. He is the first to reign over Greece. So you can go look into Google, Wikipedia, whatever. When did Alexander begin to rule? And you can get a timestamp, right? You can get a timestamp because everything we doing is BC, AD. We getting all of these timestamps, right? So now we found the beginning of Esau's world. But you don't know that it's Esau's world, right? So watch this. Now let's go to Jasher. Let me show you how it all began. Let's go to Jasher chapter 90 and read verse 1. Read this to the people.
At that time, in the 5th year, after the children of Israel had passed over Jordan.
Wait a minute. Timestamp. The children of Israel just left Egypt and passed over Jordan. Timestamp. Go ahead.
After the children of Israel had rested from their war with the Canaanites.
With the who?
The Canaanites.
Right? So they had already been in the wilderness 40 years before they got into a battle with the Canaanites, right? Go ahead.
At that time, great and severe battle arose between Edom and the children of Chittim.
Wait a minute. So Israel is warring with Canaan. But at the same time, Israel's warring with Canaan, Esau is fighting with who?
Chittim.
Okay, go ahead.
And the children of Chittim fought against Edom.
Go ahead, straight through it.
And Abianus, king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that it is in the 31st year of his reign, and a great force with him of the mighty men of the children of Chittim. And he went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. And Hadad, the king of Edom, heard of his report, and he went forth to meet him with a heavy people, and a strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom.
So Edom heard about it, and they went to wage war with the king coming with the Chittites, right?
Yeah.
This is well before Alexander, son of Philip from Macedonia, but we're in the same area, right? This is years before Alexander, right? Because we just now coming out of Egypt, right? So go ahead. There's a war going on while Israel is fighting the Canaanites. You put that on pause. Now the author is telling us about a war between the Chittites and the Edomites near Mount Seir. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Chittim slew of the children of Esau 22,000 men.
So this war wasn't in Macedonia. This war was in the land south of Judea.
Seir.
Mount Seir, right? Yeah. You know, the Edomites live south of Judea. Go ahead.
And all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive.
They caught the king.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And brought him to Abanias, king of Chittim. And Abinus ordered him to be slain. And Hadad, king of Edom, died in the 48th year of his reign.
Okay.
And the children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter. And Edom became subject to the children of Chittim.
Wait a minute. So we got a war going over here north of the Jordan. The Israelites fighting the Canaanites. And south of the Jordan in the land of Edom, we got the Chittites done attack Esau. Go ahead.
And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim and became a kingdom from that day.
So Chittim is up in what we call Greece. Chittim is up in Greece north of the Mediterranean. Now, they had to come by water. I doubt if they would have came by land, because they would have had to go through Turkey, through Syria, through Lebanon. They would have had to run into the Canaanites. So they would have come by water to bypass all those nations, and they landed on the west coast of Edom, right? And they would have came and land and fought Esau, and they would have took over that whole Mount Seir, that whole range where Esau had taken from the Horites. The Chittites came, so the Chittites has a landmass here, south of Judah and Judea, and they are ruling up in Macedonia. Go ahead.
And from that time, they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim.
Wait a minute. Esau, you can't say that it matches with second Esdras. Esau's head could no longer lift as their own nation. They did what with Chittim?
They became one. They joined them.
Did Esau disappear, or did they? What happens when a kingdom comes and conquers you? If they don't wipe you all out, they do what with you?
They bring you in as slaves.
They assimilate you into their culture, right?
Yeah.
That you're not going to be equals. Just like when Babylon took Daniel and his brothers and sisters, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all of that royal court became royal in Babylon. They were subservient to Nebuchadnezzar, but they weren't slaves. They weren't down at the bottom. That's not saying all the other Israelites wasn't down at the bottom, but the royal house of Israel came over and they had quarters near royalty in Babylon. So when Albinus came and killed Hadad and them and took over Edom, you would assume that some of Edom's royalty assimilated into Chittim, right? It said they become one.
Yes,
all
sir.
right, keep going to verse 11.
All right, and Abinus placed officers in Edom, and all the children of Edom became subject to tributary and to Abinus, and Abinus turned back to his own land, Chittim.
Okay, so he left officers and governors and people to rule there, and the Edomites that were still there had to pay taxes, tributary.
Yes, sir.
Albinus then takes his army and goes back on the ships and goes back up to Macedonia.
Yes, sir.
To the land of Chittim.
All
right, go ahead.
And when he returned, he renewed his government and built for himself a spacious and fortified palace.
He came back with all the booty or bounty or treasures, and he reestablished himself as king, and he built himself a mansion.
Yes.
Go ahead.
a fortified palace for a royal residence, and reigned securely over the children of Chittim and over Edom.
Wait a minute. He ruled over Chittim and Edom from that time forward.
Yes,
Right?
abidance.
So then whatever Edomites was running into Judeans, anything after this story, anytime you're dealing, because Hadad did rule 40 years, and you got stories of Hadad in the Bible.
Right.
But after the rule of Hadad was over, any Edomite you would have dealt with, you would have been dealing with Chittimites.
Yeah.
Right? Is that verse 11 or you still got some more?
No, that was it.
That was it? All right. Now let's go over and let's get the Zondervan. Now that we know that Esau didn't disappear, we don't know what Edom or Esau look like today or who they are today. So we got to figure out this world that has to end. It has to be in rulership today. Or else the world of Edom already ended, and you would have to tell me, when did the world of Jacob take over? Does that make sense? So when did the Edomites get themselves disconnected from the Chittimites? Because we know that later on in history, after Babylon, after Medo-Persia, the Chittimite named Alexander the Great came and they started to rule that world, right? The same world that the Medo-Persians had, the same world that the Babylonians had. And then after Alexander the Great, the Romans had this same world, right? So where did Esau go? Help me find Waldo. We know they assimilated with Chittim. That means Albinus would have took some of them, many of them, with him back where? Back to Macedonia or back to Greece, right? Back to the land of Chittim. So now start at the Idumean definition. This is the definition of Idumea. Who are the Idumeans? Read that.
Okay, so the Idumeans, this is pertaining to Edom, the name used by the Greeks and Romans for the country of Edom.
So the country of Edom, where the Chittimites came and conquered, once they conquered, they started calling these Edomites Idumea. And before it was Edom, it was the land of Horites. So the Edomites came and took it from the Horites, and then the Chittimites or the Greeks came and took it from Edom, and they called it Idumea, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, now flip back to the definition. Now we're going to the definition of Edom. We just on blue right now. Yeah. Go ahead.
The Edomites were also subject to Babylon. Under the Persian Empire, Edom became a province called Idumea.
So remember, before when Israel was taken away from their land, they was taken into Babylon. And while Babylon was under control, Babylon also had Edom under subjection.
Yes.
Right? And you saying they acquired the name
Idumea.
Okay, go ahead. So the Greeks and Romans would have just adopted what the Babylonians called them. Because I don't think the Edomites was calling themselves Idumeans. All right, go ahead.
The Greek form of Edom. From Idumea came Antipater, the father of Herod the Great. He became procurator of Judea.
We got to figure out how this Idumean Herod got into rulership over the land of Judea. He's from the land of Edom, which is south of Judea. He's not the same bloodline, because the Israelites come from Jacob. Herod comes from Esau, right? Go ahead.
After the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD, the Idumeans disappeared from history.
The Idumeans what?
Disappeared from history. Thus, the rather mournful career of the Edomites came to an end. She is only the neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from El.
So the Edomites, who took their land from the Horites and under the subjection of Babylon, where Israel was under the same subjection, the Edomites became known as Idumeans. These are the same people that the Chittimites came and conquered.
Yes, sir.
So if you're looking at the timelines, either these Chittites took Edomites back into Greece before Babylon took over, but there would have still been Edomites left in the land of Horites, right? The land of Edom, just south of Judea. So when the Chittites in that time took them Edomites back into Greece, they became one. And then the Edomites that was left in Idumea, they would have been subjugated to Babylon, to Medo-Persia. But what do you think happens when Alexander the Great takes over from Medo-Persians? What do you think the status of those Idumeans that was south of Judea, what do you think their status? Did it go up or did it go down?
It went down.
It went down under Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
It went down under Medo-Persia. Mm-hmm. But when the Greeks took over, where Chittim had already took some of their relatives into Greece, now Alexander the Great takes over that same land that Babylon had, that Medo-Persia had. Now these Idumeans that was there know that their people are in Greece, and now some of those Idumeans in Greece are in power.
Yeah. So it could be some of their family.
It is their family. How does Herod the Great take over Judea?
That's how.
By consent of the Greeks. Mm-hmm. Right? So while the Greeks are in control, that's why you got Antiochus. You got all of this defiling of the temple, all of these real stories that actually happen, right? You're going to tell the truth. The author's just embellishing their role in the truth. But this is how you get Herod, if it is a Herod, which it could be totally a Herod, in Judea or Edomite ruling over Israelites. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Chittites and Romans, or Chittites and Greeks. Rome took over Greeks. So where do you think the Edomites went? Oh, in the Maccabees, we do see where the Israelites was making agreements with Greeks. Yeah. We see where the Israelites is making agreements with the Romans.
That they didn't want to die.
But the problem with the Edomites is that their family was already in Greece for hundreds of years. Because we're going all the way back to when Israel came out of Egypt. While Israel was fighting Canaan, Chittim was fighting the Edomites. So you got to look at that timeline. How long has Esau been in Greece? And I'm sure a lot of those Edomites didn't stay in captivity to Greece. They probably fled to Italy, to Rome, to wherever, right? Mm-hmm. But when you think about the royal seat of the Greeks that put Edom over Israel, and then the royal seat of the Romans that kept Esau over Israel. Why? So that whole 6-part series we went into, even this series and even the lesson after this series, y'all, it's all one thing. But y'all can't forget this part, because this is going back to your Bible. Who were the Chittites? And how did Esau take over the Chittites? And how did Esau get in to be in Rome? Why did they show favor to Edom and not Israel? Right? So now, that's the intro. That's going to lead into later in this lesson, right? So let's move to the next slide. Should start with a definition. Who speaks Latin? Right? The who speaks Latin. Let's start right there.
All righty.
Let's get back into these melanated rulers. Same topic. All of this stuff is tying together. We're talking about the Greeks, the Romans, Israel, Edom, the whole time. Go ahead.
Latin was primarily spoken throughout the Roman Empire, especially in the western regions. It was the language of the Roman Republic and Empire, and later evolved into the Romance language.
Romance
languages, like Spanish, French, and Italian, after the empire's fall.
How many of y'all know that? How many of y'all know that Spanish, French, and Italian came from the Latin language after Rome's fall? Okay, next one.
The Romance languages, French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, are descendants of Latin. And understanding Latin can be helpful for those studying these languages.
It can be helpful for those studying the Bible.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying the Old Testament is Hebrew, the New Testament is Greek, what language was it after the Greeks? Who ruled after the Greeks?
The Romans.
So that it would have been Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it there a Latin? Why nobody have a Latin version of a Bible? Why did the Romans keep the Greek? Is it the same language?
Well, the God of the New Testament got a Latin name.
The God of the New Testament got a Latin name, but the whole New Testament is supposed to be in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
It's confusion, right?
Yeah.
The whole New Testament is talking about Rome, but ain't nothing in the New Testament talking about Greek.
No.
But it's written in Greek.
Right.
It's confusion, right?
Absolutely.
All right, third paragraph.
While Latin is not a native language for any modern day country, it is still spoken in limited context. Primarily, it is used in the Vatican City.
Man, y'all remember last lesson? Vatican City is a country in the city of Rome, in the country of Italy.
That's right.
Italy is the country, Rome is the city, but Vatican City is a country.
In the city.
A country in a country that's got a city name.
Right.
That's more confusion. So in this country, Vatican City or city state, they still speak Latin.
Yes.
Which is a dead language or a language spoken nowhere else.
That's what the last pope, he only spoke Latin.
He only spoke Latin, but majority of the popes speak Latin because French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, and all the other languages come from Latin.
Right.
Go ahead.
For official documents and some liturgical purposes, and by scholars, historians, and some members of the Catholic Church, particularly those in religious orders.
So those in religious orders, flip to the next slide. You can make this, never mind, shit might not do it. But the next slide, so this is one of the popes that was alive when we were alive. Y'all remember what that dog picture is in the middle?
Was it that
Anybody remember what that picture is in the middle?
For fertility.
Not fertility. You remember it's supposed to be the story of how Rome became Rome. The first king of Rome was Romulus.
Right.
He had a twin brother, Remus.
Mm-hmm.
And they were displaced out in the mountains and they were raised by wolves. So what that is, a wolf nursing Romulus and Remus. Romulus became the founder of Rome, Romulus, right? And then the last picture is the Colosseum. Obviously, that's just tying all of this Latin. That's another part of y'all notes, right? So we started in the beginning. We're just showing you how Esau got into Greece. And if Esau got into Greece, Esau got into Rome, right? That's the point. And that's why Esau was ruling in the New Testament, supposedly Judea. All right. And it doesn't make any sense. If Chittim took over Edom and then Albinus left his own governors and rulers over Edom, it's confusing to me why Rome would come into Judea and then hire Edom as opposed to leaving Rome. Wait, he did leave Romans. Why have Pontius Pilate there and had Herod? Somebody make it make sense. Albinus comes in and he kills her dad and he leaves his own people to rule Edom. Tiberius comes in and appoints Pontius Pilate to rule Judea, but Herod is the king. Why didn't Jesus go to Herod? Why did Jesus go to Caiaphas? Why did Jesus go to Caiaphas, then to Pilate, not Caiaphas to Herod? It's an Israelite issue. He's saying he's a king of the Jews. Why isn't Pilate Herod? Why isn't Jesus arguing to Herod, whose dad was looking for Jesus, killing firstborns looking for this Jesus? Why didn't they take him to Herod as opposed to Pontius Pilate? Can y'all make that make sense to me? More confusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's more confusion. They're saying Jesus is the ruler. He's healing the sick, raising the dead. People saying he's the savior, come back to rule the children of Israel. But he goes to Caiaphas first. Caiaphas condemns him. Then he probably pays Pontius Pilate money to kill him. Pontius Pilate says, we find no wrong in this man.
Mm-hmm.
How about Paul? Why did Paul have to go all the way to Caesar? Wait a minute.
Well, it would have made sense.
Wait a minute. They sent Paul to Agrippa. No, they sent Peter to Agrippa.
Yeah.
But they didn't send Jesus to Herod. You know, after Herod in the Acts, it was Agrippa.
Mm-hmm.
Agrippa and Bernice.
Right.
So Peter was sent to the ruler of Judea,
Mm-hmm.
who was an Edomite.
Yeah.
But Jesus was sent to Pontius Pilate.
All right.
Stuff just coming off the dome. All right. Melanated rulers. Next slide.
1828, Webster's Dictionary.
You can make that slide bigger, right? 1828. Go ahead.
The definition of black. Black is a noun, that which is destitute of light or whiteness, the darkest color, or rather a destitution of all color, as a cloth has a good black.
So the definition, primary definition of the word black, it is a color.
Yes.
Of anything, something. All right. What is his next definition?
A Negro, a person whose skin is black.
All right. Now here's the sorcery. Brother MaKaal has on a black shirt and he's holding a black remote on a black computer. But his skin is by definition brown. So Brother MaKaal would have to convince himself mentally that what he sees ain't what he sees.
Come on now.
If he calls himself what he don't look like. I hope that wasn't confusion. He would have to lie to himself. Like literally, when you teach I'm black, you teach your children they black and they pray. You're teaching your kid to brainwash themselves into believing something that they're not even learning at K through 12. They're learning the color spectrum. They're being graded on and getting A, B's, and C's for learning colors, but their mama and daddy and them is telling them at home that they black, which is a color absent of light or whiteness.
Yes.
Okay?
Destitution.
Wow. Now let's go to the next slide. Let's go to etymology.com.
All right. Etymology.com says black was used of dark-skinned people in Old English.
And where?
Old English.
So black didn't start being used for people until England, until the English. It didn't say the Romans.
Nuh-uh.
Because you remember the Romans took over the English. Then the English fought back and won back, right? But we can timestamp it. I'm trying to show y'all timestamp. If it wasn't if they wasn't calling people black in the time of Rome, then they wasn't calling themselves black in the time of Israel.
Right.
And they wouldn't call themselves black in the time of David, Abraham, Noah. Y'all get me? So this is something somebody has made people and classified a person to start calling themselves a color spectrum that doesn't exist.
Uh-huh.
So Old English. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Of coffee with nothing added.
Okay, yeah. People say I want black coffee, coffee with creamer, right? Stuff like that. You put creamer in, it gets whiter. If not,
Coffee ain't black.
coffee ain't really black though, right?
It's not.
But they got society has people saying these things.
Yeah.
As of 1796, they give you a date when people started using coffee as black. They
Yeah.
actually tell you when
1796.
people started saying black ass coffee.
Yeah.
Can I get a cup of black coffee? How you like your coffee? Black. 1796. We got a date. Before that, were the people drinking coffee talking about it being this black creamer and all this stuff? No.
They probably said I want it dark.
I want it dark, or I want it like it is. Timestamp though,
Yeah.
using the word black.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The meaning, fierce, terrible, wicked, is from late 14th century.
Wait. So in the 1300s, which is the 14th century, it's timestamp that they also said the word black means
Fierce, terrible, wicked.
Why do you want to call yourself that? When you say I'm black and I'm proud, or you put black before anything, or you say black on black crime, you talking about fierce on fierce, terrible on terrible, wicked on wicked.
Come on, out.
The definition fit, don't it?
They do.
No, I'm saying the definition, the etymology is the origin of words. We don't know words and we don't use words. That's why they put slick talking Negroes on TV to make you start. They put it in music. They put it in taglines of movies. And next thing you know, society and the community picks it up and don't know what the origin of a word means. So they got James Brown got the most famous song.
Say it loud.
Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. And it's to this day. You got Asians. You got people in Asia singing it. Africa, Russia.
Everywhere.
Everybody know James Brown and that song. But all he's saying, say it loud. I'm fierce, terrible, I'm wicked, and proud of it. Literally. By definition. Let's use some words you learn in school. Denotatively. By definition. Go ahead.
The figurative sense often come from the notion of without light.
We read that earlier, right? In the 1828. Black is without light. But no, we got new definition in this 14th century. We got new definitions in the 18th century. Mm-hmm. So y'all got to know that they've added on definitions to make you think a hamburger that don't have ham made of beef.
Yeah.
So the definitions and the words we use don't even make sense. And if you were to use the right word and say, I want a beef burger, what? You mean a hamburger? No, a beef burger. Because there's turkey burgers. There's all kind of burgers today, right? There's no meat burger.
No meat burger.
No meat ain't ham.
Mm-mm.
Turkey ain't ham.
Mm-mm.
And beef ain't ham.
But it's a meatless hamburger.
But in our psyche, it don't make sense to say things that make sense.
Right.
Go ahead.
So the figurative senses often come from the notion of without light, moral, or spiritual.
Now watch this. Here go that word again. Y'all got to put this word and highlight it. Go ahead.
Latin.
When you hear the word Latin or you see a definition and a word has Latin in it, we're talking about who? Rome. Timestamp it. You know the people that got a city that's really a country? They got their own language where presidents go and kneel and kiss rings. Them people, they're making up the definitions. These are the ones that are perpetrating it. Mm-hmm. Now, what the Latins say the word black means?
Nigger.
What?
Nigger.
So if you pull up Acts 13:1 and Simeon was a nigger, they say Simeon is
black.
But black means terrible, fierce, and wicked.
Yeah.
So how is it a holy man? So is the author of the New Testament being funny?
Absolutely.
When he say Mike the nigger walk with Paul?
Yeah. So
because who was in control of Judea at that time?
Rome.
And Paul was a
Roman from the tribe of Benjamin, seed of Abraham.
But he was a Roman, and if Paul wrote these books, Paul would know not to call Simeon a
nigger.
Because in the Latin, nigger means
had many of the same figurative senses from gloomy,
what?
Unlucky, bad, wicked, malicious.
You telling me the author of this New Testament, Brakatha, the author of this New Testament in Acts 13:1,
let's read it,
didn't know that's saying and using the word nigger after nigger, niger, potato, potato, after somebody's name was offensive. Read that, Acts 13:1.
Now there was in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simon that was called nigger.
Ain't this the same place where these same prophets was called Christians?
Yeah.
So you saying Christians just go around calling people gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked, malicious, or i.e. nigger?
Yeah.
Is that why the KKK could go around and just burn these niggers? Because they're just bad, wicked, unlucky people.
Mm-hmm.
The word is really used and popular here, but that don't mean you can't go other places and hear it.
That's right.
Go ahead, Art. We got to get off this slide.
And Lucius of Cyrene and Manum.
No, where you at, Art?
Oh,
we still on
13. You want to go back to the slide?
Oh, yeah, you could drop that. They get the point. They got it on their notes.
All right.
Acts 13:1.
So
Go ahead.
Latin, nigger or niger, however you want to pronounce it, what you know what the real word is, had many of the same figurative senses as gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked, and malicious. The metaphoric use of the Greek word malos, however, tended to reflect the notion of shrouded in darkness, overcast.
Is the Greek metaphor even any better than the Latin?
No.
I don't want to be malicious, unlucky, or bad, and I don't want to be shrouded in darkness.
Right.
Go ahead.
In English.
Oh, that's us. That's our slave masters. We speak the English language. Go ahead. Yeah, you do. That's how you understand that. Yeah.
In English, it has been the color of sin.
What?
The color of sin.
Oh, that's why the KKK can go around burning people on crosses and then go to church on Sunday, because the English, they've gotten rid of sin off the American soil.
Yeah.
It's two different Christians going on. No, it's the same Christian. It's the Christians perpetuating the evil, and it's the black Christians that allow them to do it. Because in English, the word black has been the color of
sin and sorrow, at least since c. 1300.
So it meant sin and sorrow in the 13th century, but in the 14th century, it meant fierce, terrible, wicked.
Who changed it?
Is it a big change from English to?
Not really.
It's not a big change.
Not really.
It's not a big change from the Latin.
Still derogatory.
It's not a big change from the Greek.
No.
It's not a big change, y'all. Old English, not that big of a difference. Go ahead.
The sense of with dark purpose, malignant, emerged in the 1580s. In black art, necromancy, it is also the sense in black magic.
Anytime you put black in front of anything,
it's bad.
The spell of the word.
It's
the
bad.
Spell that's on the word.
That's right.
The sorcery of that word being used on anything is bad. Next slide.
In legal context within the United States, black is often defined as a person with origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa.
Hey, black racial groups is plural, so that means there's more than one type of group, so-called African on that continent.
Uh-huh.
We know that we ever get the number of how many countries was on the continent, and these people that are in these countries on the African continent, they don't speak the same language. They don't even have the same culture.
No,
they don't even have the same history.
Mm-mm.
But they saying in the United States, when we say you black, it's 54 countries that was outlined and given their borders by Europeans or by Anglo or Caucasians, right? And they say that the blacks they found in America, even if you was here, you're from Africa and you're from one of those black racial groups in Africa. Go ahead.
This definition is used by the U.S. Census Bureau and in various legal contexts.
And we know that they started using the census The first census was what, in the 1700s,
1700s.
right? So all those melanated people that they seen, the only thing they could say is that they're from Africa. But Africa got the Mali people ain't the same as the South Africans, or the Zulus, or the Ethiopians ain't the same as the Swahilis and the Congolese. They all different people. So that's more than 4. So they just say groups, right? And so the census, who is trying to make a count of people, right, and trying to put them into a category, just use blacks for all these dark-skinned people. Go ahead.
The term can also encompass individuals with origins in any of the original peoples of North America who maintain tribal affiliation or community recognition.
Did y'all see that? Y'all see why I highlighted that in yellow? Did y'all see the double context here?
Yeah.
At the top, it say, in the United States, black is often defined as a person with origins of any black racial groups of Africans. But then, then it says down in the yellow, the term can also encompass individuals with origins of any original people. Original people. That means their origin is in America. Original peoples of North America.
Mhm.
But but listen, the term can also encompass individuals with origins in any of the original peoples of North America who maintain tribal affiliation. Listen, sisters and brothers, they are letting you know that there are melanated people with broad noses and woolly hair here.
Mhm.
Even if you maintain tribal affiliation. Even if you know you Choctaw, Chickasaw, Wampanoag, Narragansett. So black, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So black is not an ethnicity.
No, sir.
Next slide.
Black people are a diverse racial and ethnic group with varied histories and experiences across the globe. Black is a racial classification.
It's a what?
People. Racial classification. Of
Who
people.
made up this racial classification? The Göttingen School.
Mm-hmm.
Göttingen School in Germany. Look it up. Go ahead.
Usually a political and skin color based category for specific populations with a mid to dark brown complexion.
Wait a minute. It is a racial classification, a political and skin color based category.
Uh-huh.
But you ain't black, huh?
It's based off of complexion.
Complex.
From mid to dark brown.
But how is brown black?
Yeah, you should highlight that because that's crazy.
How's brown? How is variations of brown black?
It ain't.
How many variations is there of black?
One.
Have you ever heard of black yellow? Black gray? Black white?
No.
Black brown? Black and blue make black. Black and yellow make
black.
All right, go ahead.
Based on racial classification in the Western world, the term black is used to describe persons who are perceived as darker skinned in contrast to other populations. So
anybody with darker skin is going to be classified as black. No, 2 slides. The black population. Go ahead.
The black population, both in the United States and globally, is characterized by its rich diversity, encompassing a wide array of nationalities, ethnicities, cultures, and experiences.
Watch this. Next slide.
African Americans.
This is how they see us now. Go ahead.
This group refers specifically to Americans with ancestry from one or more of the black racial groups of the African continent. Their unique culture has been shaped by a history of slavery and the civil rights movement in the U.S.
That's it. We don't have no history before civil rights and before slavery. That's it.
That's it. That's all they gave us.
That's the African American. Go ahead. The African.
Afrikaans. This category includes individuals from diverse countries within the African continent, each with its own distinct language, traditions, and cultures according to tufts now.
But aren't we supposed to be from Africa?
Supposedly.
So why are we not just Africans?
Because you have to be solely from there to be African. But if you were amongst these diverse African Americans, see,
that ain't what it say, but okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm just saying that's
all right.
That's
so there's only three classifications. You either an African American,
Or
an
an
African, or an African Caribbean. What's that?
So the African Caribbeans. This group encompasses individuals from the Caribbean diaspora and in the United States, including those from nations like Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Dominican Republic, each contributing unique traditions and customs.
The funny thing I see there is the Caribbean diaspora. So the funny thing is, in the Caribbeans, a lot of them say they from Africa. So there's an African diaspora into the Caribbeans, and then there's a Caribbean diaspora into Americas. But it didn't say that for African Americans.
No.
It didn't say they're part of an African group from the African diaspora, did it?
No.
But it said the Caribbeans came from the Caribbean into the United States.
Yes.
So how did the African Americans get in the United States? I'll wait.
We had to be proud.
They're just not thinking. If we was already here or we were in a diaspora for somewhere.
Yeah.
But so if so-called blacks from the Caribbeans came by way of the Caribbeans, that's one population. But in the Caribbeans, they're gonna say, if they're of color, they're gonna say that they diaspora from Africa, not from America. Some of them. But in America, they're saying the slave trade, but they're not really saying it's a diaspora. So are Black Americans or American Indians, are they prisoners of war, slaves? But it don't make sense if you got blacks coming from the Caribbean to bring more blacks from Africa if there was already millions of people here that you could make slaves out of.
Maybe you can make that make sense if there was Caribbean people in Africa.
But they were. There's a huge connection between Jamaica and Great Britain, Jamaica and Canada. There's a huge interchange of people that say their relatives came from Jamaica and they're in England, Jamaica, and you know what I'm saying? Jamaica
like,
in the States.
Originally, like if they would have went to Africa and found Jamaicans or not.
Oh, Jamaicans being Jamaicans in Africa.
Right. That would make sense if they found that. But they didn't.
Yeah. I don't think the European think they're as smart as they are, right? Watch the next slide. We got more Africans.
Okay. Afro-Latinos. This term refers to people with Latin American and African roots. Being of Latin American descent with African heritage, they constitute a significant portion of the Latino population in the U.S. and are concentrated mainly on the East Coast and in the South.
Who are they talking about?
Talking about like...
Is Puerto Rico not in the Caribbean?
It is.
Is the Dominican not in the islands? Is that whole island chain not the Caribbean? Or do you got to go all the way down close to South America to Barbados and all that to be considered the Caribbean? Who are these Afro-Latinos that's mixed with Spanish and African heritage or Latin? They're going to Latin. Are they Roman? Why would a Spanish person say they Latin and they not from Rome?
Right.
Why wouldn't he just say Spanish? Because that Spanish is Spain. We know Romans didn't rule nothing in South America. Y'all see the play on words? Why would a Spanish person say I'm Latin? Oh, because Spanish comes from Latin. So if you don't know that the Spanish language comes from Latin, and the people in Spain didn't speak Latin, they speak Spanish, which is a derivative of Latin, then you know that they should be saying Spanish Americans. But what Spanish people do you know from anywhere south of America say that they got African heritage, except the ones that's on my boy Ace's show that actually say they people came from Africa? But how many mixed people here? When they mix here, they say they're American and they American and Mexican. But how many of them say they got Latin and African? I'm Latino and African. I'm Latin American. What is that? I'm Roman American. Did y'all see that? You saying you Latin American, you're not Roman. Go to the next one.
Afro-Europeans. This includes people of African descent living in various European countries, often as a result of immigration from African and Caribbean nations in the 20th century.
So there they go. They put you in Europe. You put your Caribbeans into Europe, right?
Yeah.
So, but then they put the Africans in Europe, so you get your Giannis Antetokounmpos. You know what I'm saying? You get all these basketball and all these football stars now coming by way of some African country into Greece, into France, into Europe, and now they made their way in America, and they don't care nothing about African Americans. We got the same color, not the same people. Read the next one.
So other global Black communities beyond the U.S., the Caribbean, Latin America, and Europe, Black people reside across the globe, including significant communities in South America, Canada, the Middle East, and Asia.
Who the Afro-Latinos if it's not in South America? South America's not included?
It's double talk.
What's these categories, man? They telling you that all so-called Black people ain't the same people. Right. Even if we just use that term for the sake of just not confusing people. All melanated people, all people with brown skin are not the same. They don't have the same, what did he say? Culture, nationalities, ethnicities, and experiences.
Or traditions.
Not the same. All right, next slide.
All right, so this is going to be racial and ethnic self-identification. Single race Black. These individuals identify solely as Black.
Who does that? I'm solely a color. Who does that? Who says that I'm solely just Black? I'm just a single Black. My mama was Black. My daddy was Black. I'm solely just Black.
Where you from? From the country of Black.
I'm coming from the country of Black. My people was Black people. Stupid, man. Go ahead.
Multiracial Black.
What is that?
This category includes individuals who self-identify with two or more races, one of which is Black. So Black is a race now, but do not identify as Hispanic or Latino.
Have y'all ever seen that on an application?
No.
I just filled out an application the other day, and it asked me what was my racial ethnicity, right? And then it's Black or African American or whatever. And then there's another question: are you Hispanic or non-Hispanic Latino?
Yeah, they say that. Yeah.
That's what that means. You can classify yourself as multiracial. I could be Black and white. I can be Black and white and not Hispanic. I can be Black and Asian but not Hispanic. That's what they're trying to say. Like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is going to be multiracial, but I'm not Hispanic Latino. That's where you connect. That's where you click other, not Hispanic Latino. That's the racial ambiguous people, right? Now watch this. Watch the last classification.
Black Hispanic.
Black Hispanic.
This group comprises those who self-identify as both Black and Hispanic or Latino. But wouldn't that still be an Afro-Latino?
But we can't go back and look at those. We're looking at it as compared to these three.
But
it's multiracial, but you can't say multiracial Black. You have to say Black Hispanic. Because multiracial means you have no Hispanic Latino. But Hispanic Latino ain't talking about South America.
Right.
So what is a Brazilian? What kind of Black is a Brazilian? They got all them so-called colored people down there. What are they?
What about
Panamanian? Oh, they get to be just Brazilians.
But they speak Spanish.
What about my boy Panamanian? You wouldn't even know he's Panamanian. We grew up with the middle school, high school together. You don't know he Panamanian.
They speak Spanish too.
You don't know he Panamanian until he sends you pictures of his people in their Panamanian garb at their festivals. And you look at his mom and daddy and be like, they look like my mom and daddy. But they're Panamanians.
Let me ask you a question.
And they probably habla español.
Yeah. So Carnival is a universal celebration for all Caribbean peoples, right?
So they say.
Because they do it in New Orleans, they do it in Panama, they do it in Trinidad, they do it in Jamaica, they do it in Puerto Rico, they all celebrate Carnival.
Mhm.
Why isn't that a tradition for other black people? Why is it only those Caribbeans, since everybody's intermingled with all these different classifications of black?
It's not the same culture and traditions. They're not the same people.
Exactly.
Even
My
though
point
they
is
try to
that.
have a form of carnival called Mardi Gras,
Right.
but it's not the
It's
same.
not the same.
They're not celebrated the same way,
And my point is that.
right? So let's look at the next slide. Watch this.
All right. Really? Cultural groups. Diverse African cultures. African cultures encompass a wide variety of music, dance, art, and storytelling, with over 1,000 languages spoken and numerous different religions and tribes, according to the BYU MaKaal School of Education.
So how are we the same people?
We ain't.
We don't even speak the same language. BYU know that. The Mormons been studying colored people. They know.
University of Kentucky, no.
They obviously know the difference of the melanated people here in the Americas versus the melanated people around the world where they be going on missions. Not the same people.
Right.
Go ahead.
Afro-Caribbean cultures. These cultures have influenced various Caribbean islands, and with examples like reggae music, dance hall music, and the Rastafari movement originating in Jamaica.
Next one.
Afro-Latino cultures. Afro-Latinos embrace elements of both African and Latin American traditions, including language, music, and customs.
I'm
confused.
still confused right there. So you could be Afro-Latino and Afro-Caribbean and be on the same continent in the same city, and they differentiate you
Yes.
by your culture,
Yes.
by your music,
Yeah.
by your dance.
Yes. And your storytelling.
So you got an island of Haitians, and you got an island of Dominicans. The Dominican side, they're going to say, is Afro-Latino, Afro-Latino Caribbean. Because the same Arawak or the same people was on the same island mass. So what are Haitians? Just Africans? African Caribbeans?
Haitians is a...
And then the Dominicans are Afro-Latinos.
Right. Not very much info on Haitians.
So you got Afro-Latinos hating on African Caribbeans on the same island?
According to this, yeah.
All right, next slide.
The term black generally denotes a racial identification, while terms like African American, Afro Caribbean, Afro Latino often refer to ethnicity. Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute. So is that why they started moving from black into African American or Afro Caribbean? So they know black is not an ethnicity. So now they're trying to give us African American, Afro Caribbean. These are supposed to be what my ethnicity is? Because who said so?
Jesse Jackson.
Next paragraph.
Historically, black identity was associated with dark skin, but in modern context, it is not inherently tied to skin color or specifically African descent.
What? That statement just went against everything we've been reading.
All the way against the grain.
So what does it refer to?
Black people may have light skin or identify as indigenous, Australian, or Melanesian.
Or Americans. Go ahead.
Blackness is a complex and multifaceted concept encompassing diverse experiences and cultural practices globally.
So you're only black if you accept to call yourself black.
Right.
You don't have to accept to call yourself black.
Right.
When we went back and say you self-identifying as black, yeah. I'm black, I'm multiracial black, I'm black. That you accept that. That's not an ethnicity. You don't have to accept to call yourself black. Next slide. Y'all know I was accepted into this school when I was in high school. I didn't have no clue.
All right, so this is the Cornell School of Law. Number 1, black not of Hispanic origin. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa.
That go back to 1828, right? They ain't saying nothing different. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Hispanic. A person of Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Central or South American, or other Spanish cultural origin, regardless of race.
What?
Wait a minute.
So you just Hispanic? You know, your race, your color don't matter. Your color don't matter in Hispanic, but it matter in America. All right, number 3.
Asian or Pacific Islander. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, the Indian subcontinent, or the Pacific Islands. This area includes, for example, China, Japan, Korea, the Philippine Islands, and Samoa.
Next one. Watch this.
American Indian or Alaskan Native. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North America and who maintain cultural identification through tribal affiliation or community recognition.
Ain't that what it said in slide 8? It said that black people, you could be. Wait a minute. Let me go back and read it. Stay here. Read that again while I go find it.
American Indians or Alaskan Natives are a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North America and who maintain cultural identification through tribal affiliation or community recognition.
Watch this. The term can also encompass individuals. The term black can encompass individuals with origins in any of the original peoples of North America who maintain tribal affiliation or community recognition. What's going on here? We don't look like no Alaskans. We don't look like Native Americans that's on the reservations. So who are these so-called black people, or who are these so-called original peoples of North America that could be labeled black? That's my question. That's my question to you. Who are these original peoples of America that can be labeled black? Verse number 5.
White, not of Hispanic origin.
Remember this definition.
A person having origins in any of the original people of Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East.
Wait a second, but number 1 said black people who are not Hispanic are persons having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. But then you just said white people who are not Hispanic are persons having origins in any of the original peoples of North Africa?
Yes.
So North Africa ain't Africa?
It's still Africa.
The people in North Africa ain't the same people in Africa. This Cornell law now, I'm not making it. This is a receipt. Now, listen, the people in North Africa ain't the same people in Africa. Mo, what's going on? These different people, these different white people. Write in your notes. Remember, it's about to come back up. Next slide.
1958.
Next slide.
University of Florida Law Review. Who
Joe,
is a Negro?
Who is a Negro? Go ahead.
Other states prohibit marriages between white persons and persons of more than 1/8, 12% Negro blood.
Listen, this is in 1958. They did a review on who is a Negro. They saying anybody with 1/8 Negro blood. If you 12% Negro blood, you're a Negro. Go ahead.
For example, Florida prohibits marriages between white and Negro persons and provides the following statutory definition.
It's a law, miscegenation law in Florida, Virginia, all through the South. You ain't not supposed to be marrying white women. White men don't marry Negroes. Who's a Negro? Anybody with 12% Negro blood. Go ahead.
The word Negro, colored persons, mulatto, or persons of color, when applied to persons, include every person having 1/8, which is 12%, or more of African or Negro blood.
So you're a Negro if you got 1/8 or 12% of African or Negro blood. Why African or? If
Oh,
if
that's
a
my
Negro
question,
is
man.
African, why is it African or?
Because they know we ain't the same folk.
Now
That's
watch
what-
this next slide. Watch. For all you students that's Bible scholars, watch this.
Ham,
Zonovan Bible Dictionary. Watch this definition.
the young son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes.
Wait a minute. A Negro is anyone with 12% African or Negro blood. So who are all these dark races of people that Ham had? Let's see. Go ahead.
But the Egyptians.
Wait a minute, Mr. Negro in America. You saying you're an Egyptian, you're a Kemetic. But wait a minute. You're a Negro.
Yep.
So how are you Egyptian? Go ahead.
Ethiopians.
We know the Ethiopians is different. They all look alike and none of them look like us. Go ahead.
Libyans.
Uh-huh.
And Canaanites.
Sisters and brothers. What are the people that made this dictionary? What are they telling you about this definition of Ham that you're not understanding? There's a main group of colored people in the Bible.
Yeah. Negroes.
And you ain't one of them. If you ain't Egyptian, you ain't Libyan, you ain't Ethiopian, and you're not a Canaanite, which is that northern part of Africa. Wait a minute. They just said the north part of Africa was white people.
That's what they said.
But what do you call Nubia, Egypt, and Libya, and Canaan? What do you call that? But the Cornell Law just said that white people come from North Africa. But the Bible definition says, so listen, here's the rationale. Here's the break your psyche. Let me break that spell. Whatever's being talked about in this Bible, it might not be talking to you, Negro. That's clearly what they're saying.
Yeah.
You got Israelite or you got descendants from Noah, right?
The Negroes are separate from.
You got descendants from Noah, right?
Yeah.
And one of them, them Chittites, that ain't us.
Japheth.
The Shemites, they say that ain't us. And now we not Ham. So maybe the stories in this Bible is over there and not over here where we at. Maybe they pumping stories in our brains that ain't got nothing to do with us. If there ain't nobody else on the earth but Noah and his sons and their wives, and you don't come from none of them, where we come from? Space? Negro, where you listen? It's show designer Vaughn. It's in the definition. Look, here go the compact. It's in that one. Here go the big pictorial. It's in that one. It say Negro, you ain't from none of Ham's sons. And as far as the world is concerned, that's all the colored people.
Yeah.
As far as Bible people go, and majority of the world is religious, they say we come from Ham. But the scholars of the Bible say, not the Negro. And then Cornell says, or Florida says, a Negro is anyone with 1/8 blood or more of an African or a Negro. Wait a minute, man. Let's keep going. Next slide. Watch this.
Every person in whom there is ascertainable and any Negro blood shall be deemed and taken to be a colored person. And every person not a colored person having 1/4, 25% or more of American Indian blood shall be deemed an American Indian, except that members of Indian tribes existing in the Commonwealth having 1/4 or more of Indian blood and less than 1/16 of Negro blood shall be deemed tribal Indians.
Miss Chickasaw, you hear that? I did the paperwork. I know my sister come from Chickasaw Nation. I know it for a fact. Everyone whom it is asserted having any Negro. So they just looking at people saying, back then they were saying, before they were calling people black, everybody was a Negro or a colored person or a person of color. They just looking at people saying, oh yeah, they got more than 12%. Oh yeah, they got more than 25%. You hear what I'm saying? Now, in the definition of who is an American Indian, or if a white person can marry an American Indian, or who's deemed, it says, and taken to be a colored person. And every person not a colored person having 25% or more of Indian blood shall be deemed an Indian. Every person not a colored person having 1/4 or 25% or more of Indian blood shall be deemed an Indian, except that members of the Indian tribes existing in this commonwealth having 1/4 or more, we already know 1/4 is 25%, or more of Indian blood and less than. So now you see that number got to drop. So in order for you be an American Indian, you got to have less than 6%
1/16
of Negro blood. 1/8 is 12. 1/16 is 6% of Negro blood shall be deemed a tribal Indian. So you could call yourself American Indian. That's what they're telling us. But you got to be accepted by the tribe. And you got to have less than 1/6. But Negro is made up. But they trying to say a Negro is anybody that has 12% of African or Negro blood. But ain't none of them are people from Africa. So we 100% Negro blood. So now they're going over and saying, okay, you're a Negro, but you got to have only 1/16. But you called all Indians Negroes. Just say you don't want us to date your white women. Just say you don't want to have little mixed race babies walking around.
Well, they can't say that because
it's already happening. It is what they wanted to happen, right? Now watch this next slide after what you read. Watch this.
Okay. So the first one says
569, an American.
Okay, so it says, what in the third race and what are the
characteristics?
What is the third race and what are the characteristics? So 569, the American or Indian race found only in America is
Just say is a deep, you just say it like
is a deep copper color, straight black hair, high cheekbones, eyes black and sunken, large faces, and robust bodies.
Read the small print.
This race comprises all the American Indians except the Eskimos, who belong to the
Asiatic race.
Eskimos.
All these Indians right here, all of them is Asiatic. Now read the next one.
So what is the fourth race and what are their characteristics? 570, the African or Negro race. They have a jet black skin, low, narrow foreheads, black, woolly hair, thick lips, and long heels.
Now what they say about this? Go ahead.
The native inhabitants of Africa, except those parts before mentioned, some of the natives of the larger islands of the Pacific and Indian Ocean, and their descendants of different quarters of the globe constitute this class.
So they got these so-called African or Negroes all over the world. And they saw these people, they saw both of these classes of people when they got here. But one group was all of the East Coast, and these so-called Native Americans was in the plains, west of the Mississippi. But they was intermixing and mingling. But why are they trying to say that the American Indians found here was Africans, as opposed to just calling them who they called themselves, like you did all the other people. Where you call a Brazilian, no matter what color they are, they're Brazilian.
Mm-hmm.
But up here, we got to be all these color classes. We probably one of the only countries that walk around and be like, oh, he white, he black, he. But then it's an Asian, they Asian. If a real African, he African. But over here, oh, he a Negro, he black. Next slide.
Negro. Now, it is remarkable that our common people retain the exact Latin pronunciation of this word, nigger. A native or a descendant of the black race of men in Africa. The word is never applied to the tawny or olive-colored inhabitants of the northern coast of Africa, but to the more southern race of men who are quite black.
See, these northern people in the law dictionary, it said the white people was in North Africa. But here it say you don't call the tawny or olive colored people Negro. Just the dark races.
Yeah.
So y'all ever ask yourself what is tawny and olive? Click the next slide. It's brown. This says olive skin covers 3, 4, and 5 on the Frederick scale. Look at number 3. Look at number 4. And number 5. We number 5. But if you 5 and 6, they calling you a Negro. They calling you black. But 3 and 4, you might can make it. And if you in number 2, you gonna pass. This is how they doing this. Did y'all know that there's a color scale? Look at that saying, epidural melanin. This is talking about the color scale of people's pigment.
Crazy.
This is why they calling you a racial class of black people. And really, it's just 6 and 1. Everybody on this color scale is either saying I'm 6 or I'm 1. Let's keep going. Let's look at some African people mentioned in the Bible. Let's look at this map first. Y'all see where I got that red arrow?
Serene.
All right. Let's list all these people out.
Simon of Cyrene, a North African man from Cyrene, modern-day Libya.
Libya. Go back to the map. Okay. You see above it? It's Achaia. You see it say Corinth. You see where it says Sicily, Italy, Rome to the top left? So that's Rome, that's Italy. So above it, you see Macedonia. Uh-oh, there go that Macedonia. Straight above it. So Cyrene, Achaia, Macedonia, right? This is how close. So Cyrene is Libya. So where I got the arrow is Libya, right? This is where Simon of Cyrene was from, and he was the one that was supposed to have carried the cross of Jesus. Okay. Y'all can see all the rest of them. Y'all can screenshot it. We're not going to read it. What does the next one say? The next yellow one.
All right. So it says Simeon, the nigger, one of the prophets and teachers in Antioch, Syria, mentioned in Acts 13.
So if he's a nigger or a Niger, the only thing you can say is he's from Niger. Flip to the next slide. Let's look at this map. So this is supposed to be what Africa looks like on the left, right? I shouldn't have said left, right? All right, now on the right side, look at that. You see where Niger is? Niger is right below what? No, right below who? Algeria and Libya.
Libya, yep.
And who's below Niger?
Chad.
No, that's to the right. But who's below it? Nigeria. So how many of y'all know above Nigeria is a country called Niger, right? And we know that Simeon in Acts chapter 13 and 1, which we read, was supposed to be from there. You see the proximity to Libya on the map, right? All right, next slide. We read this earlier. Remember, the Latin word for Niger or nigger meant what?
Had many of the same figurative senses: gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked, or malicious.
So how could you be talking about Simeon and not mean that if the Latin word means gloomy, unlucky, bad, and wicked, right? So now go to the next slide. Here's another slide you can screenshot, but these are the rest of the Africans and where they're from that's in the Bible, where it specifically says they're from, right? And the majority of them are from Egypt and Cush. The only ones that wasn't from Egypt and Cush was Simeon and Simon of Cyrene. But Egypt, Ethiopia, Cush, all the same, right? Now let's look at that map. Click the next map. So there are other people that's listening in the Bible. You see where Cush is. You see where Egypt is Misram. You see where Put is? Put is Libya today. Put is Libya today. So Simon of Cyrene that was supposed to carry the cross, he would have been from what we call today Libya. Now remember Libya now. Go to the next slide. Move 2 slides up. Next slide. Go ahead.
In the Bible, the continent of Africa was not referred to as Africa. Instead, various regions and nations within Africa were mentioned, including Egypt, Cush, also associated with Ethiopia and Nubia, Libya, and Put.
Go ahead.
The term Africa is a later name primarily used by the Romans.
By who?
Romans.
The people who use the Latin language, the people who made the word nigger, the Latins, the Romans, the Romans. Are y'all getting the theme yet? The term Africa is later name primarily used by the Romans. Go ahead.
Okay, the term Africa is a later name primarily used by the Romans and not a biblical term, according to Bible dictionaries.
Next slide. So all you're going to see is Put, Mizraim, Cush, Canaan. You're not going to see nothing that says Africa. All right, now let's look at this next map. Can y'all find me anything of importance on this map that we went over?
Let's see.
If Rome used the word Africa, where did they teach you in school to go look for instructions on what to find on the map?
The index.
What did it say in the index that's important to where we're at right now in the lesson?
It says this.
The purple is what?
The African.
The purple is what?
Africa.
The purple is Africa. Not the whole continent. The purple is Africa. The yellow is Numidia. The green is Mauritania, Cicerenas. And the orange is Mauritania, Tingatana. But listen, back in the purple is Africa.
Yeah.
And let's look at some places that we covered. Y'all see that Leptis Magna? Who was from there? The emperor who? The emperor of Rome who? Septimius Severus. All right. And we also talked about, now look at the top of the purple. What name do y'all see there that's important? Carthage. Now who is from there? This is important history. You got to understand how all of Africa was taken. It started with this landmass of Africa being conquered by the Romans. Hannibal Barca, and there's 3 Punic Wars. If you want to be a historian, you got to study the 3 Punic Wars, because after that, Rome took Africa, which allowed Rome to then go further east, take Egypt, Judea, and end up taking out Greece. Mm-hmm. But they had to come this way through Portugal, Spain, Morocco, Mauritania, Numidia, and then they had to fight these Africans, right? Okay. Now today it's not called Carthage or Lepsis Magna. It's not called the African Proconsularis. It's not called that, right? Go to the next slide. This is what it's called today. It's called Tunisia. Y'all see that straight to the top north? Not where it say Turkey, but go left. It's a Athens, Sicily. That tip right there of Tunisia, that's where Carthage was. This whole mass of Libya, look at where Libya is. So this Tunisia, this would have came later, right? Because next to Tunisia is what? Algiers. And then you can see Morocco. And then you go up, it's Spain. This is the whole thing we're talking about in history. This is North Africa. We're talking about north of Algeria, north of Morocco, north of Libya, north of Egypt. This is where Rome was, because what separates North Africa from South Africa? A big old desert. That's South Libya, South Algeria. That's all desert. It don't start getting green. Now look where Mauritania moved to, y'all. Go back to the last map. It say Mauritania is up here, up north. You see that? It say Mauritania. Go back, yeah, right there. It say in the index or the context, it say Mauritania is the orange, and Mauritania is the green. Go to the next slide. Look where Mauritania is.
So we still got an orange and green.
Mauritania way down. So we got some redistricting and some removing. But really what the area that we focus on is right here where it say Tunisia today. Tunisia, Tripoli, which is the capital of Libya, right? That's where we focus on. Cairo, Egypt. Heck, it's just Africa today, but back then, when the Romans was taking over, it was ancient Rome. Okay, does that make sense? Go to the next slide.
Okay. In antiquity, the Greeks are said to have called the continent Libya and the Romans to have called it Africa.
Wait, the Greeks ruled before the Romans.
Yes.
So they called it Libya. But
yes.
What part did they call this big part that we see on the slide back? Or are they calling the little tip up top in the purple Libya, right? Because the tip today is called Tunisia. You see where Libya is today on the map. Y'all not showing the map. But the Greeks called Libya. You see, Libya is a big country, but if you go a slide back, Libya is just the purple. The tip of Libya, that's called Tunisia. But look on this one right here. What does it say below? What does it say below the purple? What is that? What does it say at the bottom of the screen next to the scale? Ethiopia. So all of that desert, all of that was called Ethiopia, all the way to the Atlantic, all the way. This whole continent was called Ethiopia. Y'all see what I'm saying? Now, when you go to this modern slide, what was called Ethiopia? Ethiopia is way over in the east, in the green by Somalia. You see that? Now Algeria is Algeria, Libya is Libya, Egypt, Sudan is Sudan, but all of that northern Sahara desert, they was calling that Ethiopia. All right, so now you see Libya has a lot of that desert, right? But that same desert, the Romans called Africa. But Romans was really calling the tip up along the coast of the Mediterranean is Africa, right? All right, I'm just trying to get y'all to understand Africa and all that was just a strip, because below that was the Sahara. Nobody was living there, nomads. Romans didn't care nothing about no desert, right? They would have been traveling near the coast, or if you could get down by the Niger River, you'd have been traveling near that. That's the only water you had. Majority of what we're looking at on that map was desert. Go ahead.
Okay. In antiquity, the Greeks are said to have called the continent Libya. The Romans to have called it Africa, perhaps from the Latin Africa. Sunny is what that means. Or the Greek Afrik, or Afrique, right? Without cloud. The name Africa, however, was chiefly applied to the northern coast of the continent.
What?
It was chiefly, meaning specifically applied to the northern coast of the continent.
Why? Because below that was desert. You couldn't make it, right? Go ahead.
Which was in effect regarded as a southern extension of Europe. The Romans, who for a time
Stop. Just that northern coastline was the southern extension of Europe. So the southernmost part of Europe was Mauritania, Namibia, Libya, that whole coastline. Everything across the Mediterranean was the southern tip of Europe. That's all the Romans and the Greeks cared about. Go ahead.
Okay.
The Romans.
The Romans, who for a time ruled the northern African coast, are also said to have called the area south of their settlements Afriga, or the land of the Afrigs, the name of a Berber community south of Carthage.
Okay, so y'all remember where Carthage was, right? Carthage was at the tip. Carthage was a coastal country. So he's saying that the people of Afrig, the land below it, which was the Sahara Desert, Ethiopia, or whatever, they was calling that the land of the Afrigs. Go to the next slide. Now look at, when I found this slide, I was like, oh, that's it. I say shots fired. That's Africa. Look at the map. What's below what's colored? Desert.
That's it.
But you got Mauritania, Namibia, Africa, Cyrenaica, which were Simon of Cyrene, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Egyptus, or Mizraim, or Egypt. But all the Greeks and Romans cared about was the coastal countries of the Mediterranean. You control the coastlines, you control the import exports. Next slide.
The phrase land of the Afrigs is sometimes used to refer to Africa, particularly in the context of the historical naming of the continent.
Oh, so when the Europeans finally were able to conquer and take over the whole continent, they just named it what was the southern tip of the European country. They just expanded from the coastline to the rest of the continent. And they split it all up into how many countries? 54. Go ahead.
The Romans are said to have used the name Afriterra, meaning land of the Afri, to refer to the region south of their settlements, particularly a Berber community near Carthage.
Go ahead.
The Latin suffix "ica" was used to denote a landmass, hence the name Africa.
So the land below the map, go back to the map. So the land below where you see Africa was nothing but desert, and it wasn't nothing out there but nomad Berber communities called the Afri. It was called the land of the Afri. So the Romans just put the Ica on it, which denoted landmass. So the landmass of Afri. Afriterra. Terra means land. That's where you get Africa, right? Now go ahead. Back to the last point.
The name Afrigs likely derives from the Afri, a Berber tribe living south of Carthage.
Next slide. Look at this map. Now, can y'all go to the, what'd you call it? Context index box? Index box and see anything that stands out there. Look at this map and look at the color distribution. What jumps out?
What's this? Numidia, Malatina, and the Mauritania Cicerenes.
Right there at the top, Roman provinces. Africa, Byzacena, and Africa, Pronculus, right? The yellow and the purple. That same tip where Carthage is, this was Rome. All of this was Roman territories, right? But the most important to Roman territories was Africa. Africa, Byzacena, and Africa, Pronculus, right? And then where you see Tripoli at, that goes into Libya, right? And look at that map. There it is again. Leptis Magna, where Septimius Severus was from at the bottom right. But look where it's saying in the gray below all the color, it is what? The Sahara Desert. All right, next slide.
Land of the Afri is a historical reference to the region that is now known as Africa, specifically the Roman province of Africa, which was established after the Third Punic War.
Third Punic War is when Africa was established. There go another timestamp. I'm going to say it again. The Roman province of Africa was established after the Third Punic War. Back check me, double check me, go verify it. Go ahead.
The name Africa itself is believed to have originated from the Roman term Africa Terra,
Afri landmass. Go ahead.
meaning land of the Afri. According to Wikipedia, the Afri were a Berber tribe that inhabited a region around Carthage.
Around Carthage. Go ahead.
Roman context. The Romans used the term Afri to refer to the people living in the region of North America, particularly North Africa, Salakia, particularly around Carthage.
See, they're not talking about nothing south of the Sahara Desert. This is all north of the Sahara Desert. Go ahead.
Africa Proconsularies. After defeating Carthage, the Romans established the province of Africa Proconsularies, which roughly encompassed present-day Tunisia and part of Libya.
All up north of the Sahara. Go ahead.
Etymology of Africa.
Uh-huh.
The Roman name Africa is derived from Africa Terra, which is based on the stem Afri with the suffix "ic," forming Africus, Africa, Africum in Latin.
There go them Latins again. Go ahead. Continuing
the name. While the Roman province evolved, the name Africa persisted and eventually became the name of the entire continent. Other possible origins. Some scholars suggest that the name may also have connections to other ancient words like the Egyptian Afruika,
motherland.
The Greek Afrite, which means without cold, or the Latin Aprica, sunny, according to the National Geographic.
All of those are better than what we've been told, but they're still only talking about the northern part of the continent. Next slide. Take a look at this one. So it'll give you a picture of a satellite imagery, supposedly, and the map we was going over, Mauritania, Namibia, and then Africa, which is now Tunisia and Libya running across that top Mediterranean coast, right? Next slide.
Afri, singular, Afar, was a Latin name for the inhabitants of Africa, referring in its widest sense to all the lands south of the Mediterranean, ancient Libya.
You see how they telling you on the map where Africa was? It's just the land south of the Mediterranean, north of the Sahara Desert. That's Africa. Go ahead.
As a substantive, it denoted a native of Africa, i.e., an African. The etymology of the term remains uncertain. It may derive from a Punic term for an indigenous population of the area surrounding Carthage. The name is usually connected with Phoenician afar dust, also found in other Semitic languages, but a 1981 hypothesis asserted that it stems from the Berber Ifri, plural Ifran, cave, in reference to cave dwellers. The same word may be found in the name of the Banu Ifran from Algeria and Tripolitania, a Berber tribe originally from Yafran, also known as Ifran, in northwest Libya.
Watch this part.
The classical historian Flavius Josephus asserted that the descendants of Abraham's grandson Ephor invaded the region and gave it their own name.
I just put that in there to hopefully wake y'all up. Next slide. There you go, Josephus, man. They quote him like he is the historian of historians.
Flavius
Go ahead.
Josephus. While the concept of black as it's understood today didn't exist. Didn't exist.
Nobody called him, no, there was no black back then. This is where we're going to dig into this North Africa. Who was there, whites or blacks, or did it even matter? Because today they would just whitewash even if there was somebody of melanation, right? We know what the people look like there now, but what did the people look like back then? We know what Hannibal Barca looked like. He said he had a mixed army.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we know the Romans, they would have conquered and they would have probably had a mixture of army people too, right? So, but the concept of black as we know it, color, skin tone of people as a racial classification did not exist in ancient Rome. Go ahead.
So again, while the concept of black as it is understood today did not exist in ancient Rome, there were Roman emperors of African origin. Septimus Severus, born in Leptis Magna, modern Libya, is often considered the first and only black Roman emperor. He ruled from 193 to 211 AD and is known for his military and administrative reforms as well as his strategic expansion of the empire's boundaries.
Right, and we covered that, right? Last week. Now go to the next slide.
All right. Other emperors like Claudius, Albinus, Marcinus, and Emilianus were also of African origin.
Well, you see, we already started at Macrinus, and that's who Denzel played in Gladiator 2. Well, let's look at Claudius Albinus and see where these other two guys was first, right? We know that there was African people mentioned in the Bible, and they were in that same Libya area, right? Same area, right? Now let's look at the next slide. This is a picture of Claudius, right? Claudius Albinus. Next slide.
Decimus Claudius Albinus, 150 through 19, February 197, born in Tunisia.
Stop. Go to the next slide. Let's find Tunisia. Look at the very top of the map, in the very middle.
There it is, right?
You got Athens. So that whole area right there is the key area. Tunisia is where Carthage was. This is where the third battle. This is where Hannibal Barca came from. This was one of the key areas for the southern part of Europe, right? Let's go back. So this is where Claudius was from. Go ahead.
He was a Roman imperial pretender between 193 and 197. He was proclaimed emperor by the legions in Britain and Hispania after the murder of Pertinax in 193, known as the Year of the Five Emperors. Initially, Albinus cooperated with another contender from the throne, Septimus Severus, but the two turned on each other in 196 and commenced a civil war. Albinus died in battle the following year.
So we got 5 emperors in 193 AD, 193 AD, and Claudius Albinus was one of them. He's from Tunisia. He's an African, right? And 3 years after that 5 emperor rule, he went to war with Septimius Severus and died. Next slide. We know he's from that same area, right? Go to the next slide. Let's look at this other character, Emilianus. That's his picture. Let's read about him.
Emilian, born Mauritania.
Mauritania. Go to the next slide. This is where Mauritania is, right? You remember Mauritania was in the north, right? But then now Mauritania is way down on the south coast of the Atlantic, right?
Way down.
It's more south. They have more control up along the coast, and it seems like Mauritania was eventually pushed further south. Let's go back.
So he died 253 near Spatolium, Umbria, Italy. Was a Roman emperor for 3 months.
3 months.
In 253.
Go ahead.
Elyon was a senator and served as consul before receiving the command of the army of Moesia. In present day is Eastern Yugoslavia during the reign of the Emperor Trebonius Gallus. Reigned 251 to 253 after turning back an invasion by the Goths. Elyon rebelled against the emperor in the summer of 253 and invaded Italy. When Gallus was killed by his two troops, Elyon became his successor. A few weeks later, the Roman forces of Upper Rhine declared their commander, Valerian, emperor before the two sides came to the battle. Elyon was assassinated by his troops near Spatolium. Is that right?
Spoletium.
Spoletium. Despite the victory over the Goths, his attempts to seize power allowed the defeated Goths to regroup and invade Greece.
So he was doing all his fighting up in Europe, Northern Europe. He was up there trying to keep them from coming down south, and he eventually lost. But y'all remember the Severan dynasty is from 193 to 253. So here's another African fighting to be emperor at the end of the Severian dynasty, which they call the African rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this other guy, Macrinus, played by Denzel in
Elyon,
The Gladiator 2. So move up 2 slides out.
I'm with you.
So here's a bust of Macrinus, right?
Uh-huh.
What they say is a picture of him. Let's go to the next slide. So where's Macrinus from?
So Macrinus was born C-164 in Caesarea, Mauritania.
We already know where Mauritania is, right? Mauritania was right next to Libya. You can go to the next slide, look at the map. So he's from the same area where Elyon was from, right?
Yes, sir.
They from the same place, Mauritania. Go ahead.
All right. This is Algeria. Died in June 218 in Bithynia, now in Turkey. Was a Roman emperor in 217 and 218. So 2 years?
2 years. Yeah.
The first man to rule the empire without having achieved senatorial status.
Now that's crazy. That's like not ever being a senator or congressman and you president. You just go from, I guess there have been governors that go from governor to president, but he didn't serve in no seat of lawmaking before he became emperor. Go ahead.
His skills as a lawyer helped him to rise rapidly in an equestrian career, a step below the senatorial career in status, until he became a Praetorian perfect under the Emperor Caracalla. Reigned in 211 to 217.
Now you remember Caracalla was Septimius Severus' son. Go ahead.
Okay. Marcinus is alleged to have prompted the murder of Caracalla by an army officer in April 217 while the emperor was fighting the Parthians in what is now Iran.
So he over fighting the Iranians, and Macrinus is making his moves to take over the emperorship, right? So move 2 slides. Now let's look at this breakdown. So we got Septimius Severus in the middle at the top. So 193, Septimius Severus takes over, right? And then at 211, his two sons, Caracalla and Geta, take over from 211 to 217. And then Macrinus takes over in 217. And then we get to Elagabalus, and then Severus Alexander was the end of the Severan dynasty, right? And then you look over to the right, this is where Melanated tried to insert himself back in 253. And he was only emperor for 3 months, right? All right, so let's move on.
3 days after the assassination, Marcinus was proclaimed Emperor Augustus by his army.
Who was assassinated?
Caracalla.
Caracalla. Septimius Severus' son was assassinated by Macrinus. We got a little black on black crime going on. We got a little African on African because it's still up in the air what these people look like in Northern Africa, right? Go ahead.
He fought in conclusive battle with the Parthians and then agreed to a peace that was unfavorable to Rome.
Wait a minute. So Caracalla was out fighting the Iranians, and Macrinus sends one of the soldiers to kill him. So then Macrinus goes and he involves himself in that same Iranian fight. And he ends up negotiating a peace treaty, but it didn't favor Rome. Now watch what he does. Go ahead.
The treaty was followed by pay cuts for the soldiers.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Go ahead.
And by the decision to keep legions summoned from Europe for the Parthian War in Syria.
Wait a second. So he stops the war between Rome and the Iranians, and then he cuts a peace treaty, and then he pays his soldiers less to go fight with the Iranians against the Syrians. Say that don't go on today.
All day long.
Say that ain't happening right now today. We picking and choosing. Oh, we fighting with the Afghanis today. Oh, we fighting with the Pakistan. We fighting over here. We fighting over there. Say that they ain't doing that today. He cuts a deal and stops the war, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we out of war." And while everybody's screaming we out of war, he's sending the troops to help the people he just cut a treaty with take over Syria. All right. Next slide. This is how Macrinus. Now, so when you watch Gladiator 2, this is that time period of Macrinus being in. And isn't it ironic that they chose him to play that role? Like they know. It's like they know, but they know the people don't know. Right? Next slide. Now let's see what happened to Macrinus, because now he's emperor. And let's see. He's already killed Septimius Severus, lived to an old age. He gives the emperor to his two sons. Then one of them is killed by Macrinus. Now let's see what happens during Macrinus' rule. Go ahead.
Okay, so Julia Maesa spread the rumor that her grandson Basinus Elegabalus Salakia was Caracalla's natural son.
All right.
The Gallic Third Legion, disgruntled, and Marcinus's policies.
Why are they mad at Macrinus's policies? Why would the Third Legion be mad at Macrinus's policies? No, why would the Third Legion? Why would the army be mad at they cut their pay? So the army, so here's Julia Maesa saying Elegabalus is the natural son of Caracalla, right? Because Caracalla's dad, Septimius Severus, when he took over, he paid the military more. So Septimius, Caracalla, the military is making a lot of money. Then Macrinus comes in, he cuts a deal with Iran and cuts their pay. So now here's this woman saying, wait a minute, my son Bassianus is the real heir to the throne. And so the Third Legion is like, we don't like Macrinus anyway. He's trying to starve us. Go ahead.
So
the Third Legion declared Elagabalus emperor in 218.
Yes.
Go ahead.
With his remaining forces, Marcinus fled toward Italy.
He running to Italy. Go ahead.
He was overtaken, defeated in battle near Antioch, modern Antakya, Turkey, and subsequently captured and executed. Marcinus was portrayed by Denzel Washington in Ridley Scott's film Gladiator 2.
All right, so let's keep going. Now let's look at these. So Macrinus was overthrown by this Bassianus, whose mama said he's Caracalla's son. But let's look at this now. Look at this bus. Move up 2 slides. Look at this bus, man. Why in the world would you make a bus with a guy wearing all white,
but he dark? Trying to tell us something.
Next slide.
Julia
Maesa
died in C224, was the sister-in-law of the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus.
Oh, she was married to Septimius' brother. Go ahead.
And an influential power in the government of the empire who managed to make two of her grandsons emperors.
She made two of her grandsons emperors? Wow. Let's watch this. Go ahead.
Julia was the daughter of the hereditary high priest Basanias at Emesa in Syria. Mesa was her Syrian name. And she married a Roman senator, Gaius Julius Avitus Alexanius. Her daughters, Samias and Mamiya, were the mothers of Elagabalus, emperor of from 218 to 222, and Servus Alexander, emperor from 222 to 235, respectively. After the murder of her nephew, the emperor Caracalla, and in 217, and the succession of Marcinus as emperor, Julia induced the Syrian legions to declare Elagabalus emperor.
All right. All right. So listen.
Man.
So listen, Julia Mason, her people was somebody because her daddy was the high priest in Syria. So let's take a look. Who knows what this next picture is? Who is that?
It's like El and Ashley.
No.
So who is
It's
this?
Baal.
Baal?
Go to the next slide. Let's look at Elagabalus. Let's look at Julia's first son that was emperor after Macrinus. Go ahead.
Elagabalus was born probably 203. Emesa, Syria, died in March 11, 222. Rome was a Roman emperor from 218 to 222, notable chiefly for his eccentric behavior. The family of his mother, Julius Samias, were hereditary high priests of the god, Baal, at Emesa in ancient Syria, worshipped in that locality under the name Elagabal, thus Elagabalus.
Elagabalus is the name
Elagabal,
and their family were priests under Baal worship. Next slide.
All right then. Okay.
That's what they was doing right there. Making sacrifices to Baal. Next slide.
The emperor Caracalla from 211 to 217, Bassianus' cousin, was murdered in 217 and replaced by the praetorian prefect Marcinus.
Macrinus, good.
Or Macrinus. Bassanus' mother and his grandmother, Julia Mesa, won the support of the nearby troops by passing him off as an illegitimate son of Caracalla, whose name he assumed for official purposes.
He wasn't a son of Caracalla. He was like a distant cousin, right? But she passed him off as the son, and the troops believed it because they hated Macrinus, right? So let's look at this black on black crime. Let's look at it from the beginning. 2 slides up. I try to make it simpler for y'all. Look at how this deaths go, right? Let's start right before Septimius Severus. Now let's watch all this murder now. Go ahead. This is Roman emperors. These Latin-speaking people that call people niggers and blacks and steal maps of Africa and confusing the whole world, right? Let's start from the beginning. Read that out.
Emperor Didius Julianus was killed.
Didius, you like that Didius?
Yeah, was killed on order of the Senate at the behest of Septimius Severus.
So Septimius Severus, the first African emperor, got the Senate to kill the emperor Didius Julianus, and then he took office. Watch all this now. Next slide.
All right, here we go. I think my battery might be.
Just use the key thing.
All right. Emperor Septimius Severus, acclaimed as emperor by the Pannonian legions following the murder of Pertinax, first non-European emperor. He died of natural causes.
Next slide.
Emperor Caracalla, son of Septimius Severus, proclaimed co-emperor on 28th of January 198, at the age of 10 years old, succeeded jointly with his brother Geta in 211, murdered by a soldier at the instigation of Marcinus.
So we know Macrinus had
Macrinus.
Caracalla killed, right?
I meant
So what
Marcinus.
happened? So there's two. So Septimia Severus had two sons, Caracalla and Geta. So we know Caracalla was killed by Macrinus. So what happened to Geta? So this next slide, this is Caracalla. This is a bust of what they say Caracalla looked like.
Okay.
All right. Next slide. Let's see what happened to the brother, because the brother should be emperor.
Okay, this is Emperor Geta, son of Septimius Severus. Severus is proclaimed co-emperor in October of 209, succeeded jointly with his older brother Caracalla, and he was murdered on order of his brother Caracalla.
Wait a minute.
Cain and Abel.
His brother killed. Like I said, it don't make no sense. You got two sons. You got to name one a successor. You can name one a successor. That don't mean the other one won't kill him, but you can't name them both co-emperors. Ain't no such thing as co-nothing.
Little emperor and big emperor.
You got one. It's okay. Let's just use the example of Esau and Jacob. One outside and one inside. One hunts. One likes to fold clothes and do laundry. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you think the soldier's gonna listen to?
That one that's out there hunting.
And the whole Roman way is, if you notice, the emperors are those that control the armies. If you haven't caught the theme, who got the army? Even Julia Mesa was able to convince the army, but they were already upset. They got pay cuts, so they don't got that kind of money to send home to the wives who's probably sleeping with the senators. So they mad that they ain't gonna come home and be able to buy the land and the food and sheep and that nice dress they want. So Geta was killed before Caracalla. So Caracalla killed his brother. Then Macrinus kills Caracalla. Next slide. So then we know that Julia got her sons into the emperorship. So let's see what happened to Macrinus. Go ahead.
So Emperor Macrinus, Praetorian, prefect of Caracalla, accepted as emperor by the army and senate after having arranged his predecessor's death in fear of his own life. First non-senator to become emperor, and first emperor not to visit Rome after acceding.
He was chosen as emperor, and he never came back to have that huge parade.
So he
never stood over the people, and he never went through the ceremony. Go ahead.
Executed during a revolt of the troops in favor of Elagabalus.
But who was those troops working in order of? Julia Mason, right? Now look at the next slide. Now them troops was trying to get Macrinus out of the way, right? So let's keep going. So Elagabalus is now emperor. Go ahead.
So Emperor Diadumenian, son of Macrinus, named co-emperor by his father after the eruption of a rebellion in favor of Elagabalus, caught in flight and executed in favor of Elagabalus.
So in Macrinus's place, he named his son Diadumenian as emperor. So those troops killed Macrinus and his son, so that Elagabalus could take. It's a lot of death. These Africans is dying now. All right, next slide.
Emperor Elagabalus' cousin and alleged illegitimate son of Caracalla, acclaimed as emperor by rebellious legions in opposition to Macrinus at the instigation of his grandmother, Julia Mesa, murdered by the Praetorian Guard alongside his mother, probably at the instigation of Julia Mason.
So the Praetorian Guard, who is supposed to be the guards for the emperor chair, right? So Septimius came in. He had his own Pannonian army with him. But when he took over as emperor, he had them, and he replaced the Praetorian Guard with his Pannonians, right? But most emperors have this Praetorian Guard who is just have their allegiance to the throne, right? So when Elagabalus took the throne, they didn't like it, and they killed Elagabalus and his mom. So grandma's still alive, right? So let's look at the next bust. This is our last Severan dynasty, right? This is Severus Alexander, right? They busted his nose off,
Hey,
right?
Julia Mason sound like she got the juice, huh?
She had the power, but she was already in the priesthood. You know what I mean? She was cookie line. She was spinning things up, right? So let's see what happened with this last emperor. Go ahead.
So Emperor Severus Alexander, cousin and adopted heir of Elagabalus, lynched by mutinous troops alongside his mother.
So they killed his mother. You remember Julia Mason said, I had two grandsons that I put in the seat, and they both had mamas. So Elagabalus got killed with his mama, and Severus Alexander got killed with his mama. So then that's the end of the Africans, right? But all these was Africans, right? Septimius from 193 AD all the way to Severus Alexander. If you look at the next slide, these was all Africans, right? Sons, fake sons, all killed violently, right? Go to the next slide. Now look at these funny faces. They trying to reimagine what the faces would look like, right? You remember in this time, it didn't matter what color you wore. It was all about where your people came from and how you would fight, right? Because these are all soldiers. The emperor was a soldier, right? In the beginning of the United States, most of our presidents was all generals, right? So General George Washington, all the Europeans, all of them was generals.
Roosevelt.
All the way down to now these are Putin and sweetie pies and politicians. You know what I'm saying? We got people faking that they was in wars and faking POWs, but you know, even in the UK, most of them are trained up in the army, even if they don't ever go serve, right? You can't. I mean, how do you trust a leader of your country that ain't never fought for your country? You know what I mean? Ain't never won a war. You know what I'm saying? That's an example that the United States is like, we don't think we really need to, this is about policies and procedures, and we're really just a CEO. This ain't, I don't really have to go fight no battles. You know what I mean? I can just make a phone call and they go kill people for me. You know what I mean? As opposed to go do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? But now things are a little bit different, right? So this is the lesson of how, with this photo, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. So this is the lesson that we put out on the melanated rulers. Because if you notice in the series before this, it's all Roman control. The creation of the New Testament of the Bible, all Romans, and all Esau's infiltration into the Roman emperor's family, right? Now that we get here, we can see that there was obviously a derailment from Esau controlling the Roman seat. What is his name? Ananias got in after Hadrian. So now we got Esau controlling the seat of the Roman throne. But after that, we can see that the Roman throne started passing into different hands, into different generals, based on how strong the armies that they led were, right? And so they want to give us a picture of the Severian dynasty, who is from Africa, just looking like any old Greek and Roman, right? But let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 11, and we can see how this confusion and the scheme that they run it, right? Let's start at chapter 14, verse 11.
Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of El they are become an abomination, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
That's what this is right here, right? Because we do a lesson. I started the lesson talking about Black, Negro, and Africa, right? Showing you that they clearly have a definition saying that the Black people come from the four groups or the groups in Africa, and then they say the white people come from North Africa, right? But then we know in North Africa, we know that Hannibal Barca was a general of Carthage. He was melanated. And these are all this Severn dynasty is supposed to be all from Africa. But when you look at pictures of them, they don't. How do you tell the difference between the Greek and the Roman or the European, right? So now we come to this scripture in Wisdom of Solomon and say, this is how they did it, right? So there's a stumbling block. We all stumbling, right? We go through history showing these people was melanated, was showing that black wasn't a thing, but maybe nigger was, and maybe Negro was after that, right? But they're still talking about melanated, brown-skinned people. Mm-hmm. But let's see what they did, right? Let's go on to verse 12. These Gentiles, what else they do?
For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life.
These idols, now watch this, go ahead.
For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever.
These idols weren't from the beginning. Verse 14.
For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end.
Gonna come to an end, all these idols, go ahead.
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child, soon taken away. Now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
So imagine a father loses his son today, and then they take a picture, right? They got your dead loved one on every shirt, and you got your loved one's picture by the casket. And then after the funeral, you take it and you make a whole memorial at home. And every day you come home from work, you burning candles and you praying, or you going to the grave site and you making that a god. So he's saying, now imagine if a king or a ruler did that, and they made everyone worship this image of his son, right, that had fallen and was taken away. Go ahead. Verse 16.
Thus, in process of time, and ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
By the commandments of kings, man have been tricked into worshiping Caesar Borgia as the image of Jesus. As an example, somebody's son who's passed away, they put this image all over their kingdom, and now people are worshiping this image as if it's a god, this idol as if it's a god, right? Go ahead.
Whom men could not honor in present.
So you got this image, this bust, right? This is why they're making busts of Julius Caesar and putting it everywhere, or Antiochus Epiphanes. They're sending these images of King so-and-so all over the world, right? And by the king's order, you have to start honoring, but the king ain't there in his presence, but this bust, you have to worship it as if he's in your presence. Go ahead.
Because they dwelt far off, they took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present.
So it's like people being killed. And think about Chittim. So Albinus leaves his visage and an image of him in Edom, and then he finds out these people ain't bowing down and worshiping this image, right? Anytime they want to ask a question to Albinus, they got to come before his rulers he left in Edom. But then he gets a letter saying that the people don't honor his visage, and now he killing the people all the way in Edom, but he in Greece, right? Or the Roman emperors are in Rome, and they found out the people in Judea aren't hailing Caesar. They're not honoring Pontius Pilate, right? So now he going through trying to kill all these Jews because they don't want to they don't honor Pilate's authority. Same thing. Like he ain't there, the king ain't there, Pharaoh ain't there. But if he hears of them not honoring him in the far lands, then they're gonna die, right? Go ahead.
Okay, this is verse 18. Also, the singular diligence of their.
No, you still in year 15?
No, I just read 16 and 17.
Okay, go ahead.
Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
So it's superstitious when you worshiping idols and hailing and giving honor to a ruler that ain't there, or honoring an image of a god like Jesus Christos Blanco or Jesus Christ, or image of a crucifix, and the God ain't there. Go ahead. Or the king ain't there.
Verse 19. For he, peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the reassemblance of the best fashion.
Boy.
What?
So he did his best to paint this portrait, right, of this image, or carve this facial bust, or make this statue. Go ahead.
And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honored as a man.
Nothing but a man, but now they got this statue of Martin Luther King in D.C., and everybody spends their money to go see a picture of somebody that ain't even there, right? Go ahead.
Verse 21. And there was an occasion to deceive the world, for men were serving either calamity or tyranny, did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name.
So as that not happen, men and women are worshiping wood and stone and items and things. The God that they're praying to ain't there, ain't ever been there. We worship in visages, pictures of people that are supposed to be famous and have done something important. And then the people that are actually have done something that are melanated, then the rulers of the day, you could say Esau, because if Esau world hasn't ended, now they're changing and using iconoclasm and whitening out everything. So you're not knowing what Hannibal Barker really looked like. We can't look at a picture. They trying to make Septimus Severus, Caracalla, and everybody. They're making them all look like Arabs. But at that time, the Arabs wasn't even in control of North Africa. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? The Arabs didn't come take over North Africa until 600 AD. Mm-hmm. We ain't went past 243 AD. Mm-hmm. So how could Arabs be in that land, right? They were calling people in that land niggers. They were calling them Negroes. Africa. So it's either two arguments. Either North Africa was white Europeans, or we know that the white Europeans had expanded, right? Because they had conquered the land, right? Greek and Rome had conquered and came into North Africa. So are you not thinking that the indigenous people there was in the army, running the shops, being wealthy and rich people? Are we assuming that these are just European Anglo white families that came down to North Africa, and then they fought in the military and they ascended back to the throne of Rome? I'm like, why would I even leave North Africa? But we already seen Septimus Severus' family was from that area. He was from the Tunisia or North Libya area, right? Lepsis Magna. They were very wealthy family from that area, right? So now we got Amelia, we got Albinus, we got all these other families from that exact same area. And we know Hannibal Barker was from that exact same area. And even in your Bible, the same people, Simeon the nigger was from that same area. So we got all these melanated rulers, key people in the Bible, but it's all our knowledge and understanding of them. It's been skewed. It's been iconoclast. It's been whitewashed. Even if these melanated people got into office and black, Negro, colored person didn't exist, they were still committing the same behaviors against each other that we do today. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to see you come up, but I'm not happy to see you come up more than me. Oh, it's good that you got that position, but you're not better than me. So we get one office. We got one African in the emperor. He's running Rome, and he couldn't even last. These brothers was in and out. They was killing these bros. They was killing these people and assassinating them quick. Family members. You gonna kill your brother because you want to be sole emperor? It's just a sickness that go on with being in rulership. That's what I really wanted to show. It don't matter if you melanated, not melanated, white, blue, black, or green. When you're esteemed to be ruler and to be on high, you will commit a crime. Our brothers and sisters today are doing it for pennies on a dollar.
You ain't lying.
For nothing, for a block, for a corner. We got Hebrew Israelites fighting to so-called spread the gospel on a corner. It's my corner. It's your corner. You don't own nothing. You barely own the breath you breathe. But we going through this, man, showing the Roman impact from writing the New Testament, getting into the throne of Rome. And now we also got to take a look at these women that's behind the scenes.
Yeah, especially Julia Mason, because she had Jews.
Because we got Julia Mason, we got by all worship. We already seen the Pisos family involvement in their manipulation. So now you got all these people manipulating the throne of Rome, and Rome is supposed to rule the whole world at that time. But y'all, Rome didn't rule America. So I'm still trying to figure out how you tie Africa to Americas, and you can't say that we from North Africa because North Africa is too small. You expanded the name Africa to the whole continent, but you can't tell us what group we from. Are we Sand people? Are we Zulu people? Are we Congo people? Like what part of Africa is we from? I guess we got to go watch Hebrews the Negro because he the only one that can talk that Bantu, that DNA. He the only one talking that kind of talk.
Yeah.
But you look at him and you can tell he like second, third generation quadroon American with a whole lot of European blood in him.
Yeah, he got that look.
He got a whole bunch of American Indian and a whole bunch of American European in him. He don't look like no kind of African that's on the African continent.
No, he don't.
But he wants us to believe by DNA we coming from these tribes over in Africa. But man, there's people that are posting pictures of pyramids in Wyoming, pyramids all over the country of United States of America. It's a reason why President Roosevelt locked down most of this country with national parks. And the only way you're going to know what you're looking at is to be looking for it when you go on these national parks. Like y'all trying to go to the Bahamas, y'all drowning on beaches, y'all in boats fighting when you should be going to these national parks, taking pictures of these mounds and these pyramids so you can know who you really are. Because ain't no African came over from the continent of Africa and built no pyramids and mounds. Don't make no sense.
Not at all.
There's hundreds of millions of people already on this continent. Just like over there, different languages, tongues, dress codes, ethnicities. But don't nobody want to talk about none of that. But we're looking at this lesson here. We're ending this series on these melanated rulers because we finally got from Septimius Severus all the way to Severus Alexander from 193 AD to 253 AD with a whole bunch of intertwined knowledge in between over this 2 Shabbats. So I pray you've been edified. You learned something today. Just on stop calling yourself black. It's just a racial classification that you don't have to classify yourself as. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to talk about people in colors of white, black, and yellow. If you don't know that person's name, just identify them by the ethnicity they tell you that they are. Ask them. Anything else is just a guess. Because like you said, we got Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Hispanics, Afro-Afros. We got blacks. We got multiracials. This is just confusing.
Afro-Caribbeans.
Like, start talking to your grandmothers and your great-grandmothers. Start finding your family Bibles. Find out who you and your people are. And once you find out about it, then you fight for the rights of you and your people. But they got us so deep in all of these religions that we can't find our way out. The truth is right in front of us. And while you got access to the World Wide Web, you better figure something out. Because I got a feeling they're going to be cutting it off very soon. Too many people finding out things that they don't want them to know. Con? Like me and you, if you open it, if you're listening and you're learning. With that being said, we thank you for joining Highest Way Ministry. We're going to close out by repeating Psalms chapter 150 from Brother MaKaal. We thank you for all the support, your prayers, your donations. Listen, we just not studying the Bible. We studying history.
Yes, sir.
We studying current events, things that really impact you. Don't say Rome did it and you don't know what all Rome did, because they did a lot. And they still doing a lot. Your religion of Christianity came from them. So all the other languages, I speak 5 languages. Yep, they all, if you learn Latin, you could I thought I had it in there, but it said if you can speak Latin, you can speak French, Portuguese, Spanish, all of them. They're all derivatives of the Latin language. Isn't that crazy? So then what is English? If English don't come from Latin, then what are we speaking on ourselves? Are we just speaking curses on ourselves? Well, every time you speak and saying you black, you just delusional. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest spells for people to call themselves something that they are not voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's stand and close out. Whenever you're ready, Psalms chapter 150. We're going to repeat after Brother MaKaal. Go ahead,
Halal.
Hello,
Praise El in his sanctuary.
Praise El in the sanctuary.
Praise him in the firmament of his power.
Praise him in the firmament of his power.
Praise him for his mighty acts.
Praise him for his mighty acts.
Praise him according to his excellent greatness.
Praise him according to his excellent greatness.
Praise him with the sound of the trumpet.
Praise him with the sound of the trumpet.
Praise him with the psaltery and harp.
Praise him with the psaltery and harp.
Praise him with the timbrel and dance.
Praise him with the timbrel and dance.
Praise him with string instruments and organs.
Praise him with string instruments and organs.
Praise him upon the loud cymbals.
Praise him upon the loud cymbals.
Praise him upon high sounding cymbals.
Praise him upon high sounding cymbals.
Let everything that hath breath.
Let everything that hath breath.
Halal El.
Halal El.
Halal El Elyon.
Halal El Elyon. Sisters and brothers, we thank you for joining us on the Shabbat on the 15th day of the 5th month. Most High say the same. We'll see each other, or you'll see us on the 22nd day of the 5th month as we bring forth another Shabbat study. Y'all be blessed. Pray, meditate, go back through the videos. Make sure you heard what you heard. Make sure the information that I brought forth, you can verify, pull the receipts. And if you have any questions, just drop them in our email or send them to the THWministry, and we'll try to get back to them. Con?
Con.
With that being said, y'all be blessed. Shalom.
Shalom.